In late 2019 and early 2020, before the world shut down, the ad hoc group was able to solicit community input and synthesize the community's desires for the building. Collectively, our community wanted to keep the building for the town as a space to house local government, a food incubator, recreational facilities, the children's library, a preschool, co-working space, and commercial rental space. We had a dream, but not a clear path to bring it to fruition. In late 2020, Dave Christopoulos from the Hilltown Community Development Corporation helped the ad hoc group to figure out the next steps forward, which would be a feasibility study funded by a one-stop grant from the state's underutilized property program. The feasibility study showed us that we were on the right track to move our plan forward, though the scope of the required work and the associated costs would be much more than we anticipated. So, in the spring of 2024, it was time to apply for another round of one-stop funding to move forward with the construction documents. The town was generously awarded a one-stop grant from the Rural Development Fund in the fall of 2024, one of the many Rural Development Fund grant awards that we are here to celebrate today. We as a town are excited to see our former school building move forward towards a new life that will benefit our town as well as the wider Hilltown region for generations to come. The Hilltown CDC is interested in becoming our anchor tenant in a rehabilitated kitchen and cafeteria space to house their successful mobile market food program and as well as being a new food production incubator. We look forward to the day when our town offices will move to a better, more accessible home at the end of Main Street, just down the hall from entrepreneurs running their businesses in their new commercial rental spaces. We long to hear the squeaking of basketball shoes echoing from the gym and the sounds of children learning and playing in the preschool. If you miss seeing the Berkshire Trail building on your way into town, make sure to get a look at it on your way out. The next time you pass this way, you might not recognize it because of all the new life that is breathed into it. Thank you all for being part of this journey of renewal for our building, our town, and for the wider Hilltown region. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll.
Thank you so much, Brian and June and Kenneth, for the very warm welcome and for sharing that story, that project. We're really thrilled to be here. Secretary Yvonne, myself, our partners in the legislature, Senator Mark, Representative Sabadosa. It really does take a whole team of folks to make this work, and we're really grateful to have such strong partners representing all of you in the legislature that we get to work with to bring forward projects and improve funding. Governor Healey and myself are so grateful to be in these roles. First all-female team to lead the corner office. We don't hate that idea, right? Somebody had to be first. We're glad it was us. But I think even more important than that is we both come from working class backgrounds and both obviously have strong investment at the local level. I served as mayor in Salem for 17 years. Her parents were both really active in town meeting in the community she grew up in New Hampshire. And so we really respect and value what all of you do in terms of supporting your communities. And I always felt like if you love where you live and you're lucky enough to be in a position to help lead your community, like what a gift that is. But it's also really hard. It's also hard to build consensus. I like to say there's like no hiding at the local level. You make decisions every day. They impact your constituents, and you see them every place, in the grocery store, on the sidelines of a youth soccer game. That means you have to be a really good listener. It kind of drives accountability. We don't get to just kick the can down the road. We've got to actually solve challenges, find ways to do that with people we like and respect. And I'm just really grateful to be here today to talk about one of our favorite programs, the One Stop for Growth, but particularly the Rural Development Fund. And we're joined not only by Secretary Howe, Undersecretary Stolba, we also have the person we stole out of your legislative leadership, or somebody's legislative leadership, not necessarily this district, Ann Goby, who's our Rural Affairs Director. Being in the Hilltowns for me is important because we firmly believe we want to build a Commonwealth that's more affordable, more equitable, more competitive. But that equity piece also includes geographic equity. And I think of our smaller towns, our rural areas, it's a little bit like the analogy between Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, right? Ginger said she had to do everything that Fred Astaire did backwards and in high heels. And tiny towns have to do everything that bigger towns do. You get the rest of it, right? And for me, I think it's really important that we recognize that. We've increased funding to our rural jurisdictions. We've tried to make sure we've been good listeners around some of the formulas that don't work really well. Earlier this year, we've really worked hard to invest in transportation. It doesn't get cheaper to do these projects 10 years from now, whether it's a culvert or a road or public transit. And when we tweaked the Chapter 90 funding, which is dollars that go directly back to cities and towns to fund these roads and sidewalks and culverts and infrastructure, we wanted to make sure that we had a better handle on how tiny towns and rural communities could receive a little bit more of the funding, because the formula was a little tilted towards higher populations. And so many of our tiny towns and rural places have lots of geography and lots of roads, but not a lot of people. So the formula didn't work in their favor. That's just one example of the way we know that the investments that we make, the state partnership is so important. It's important everywhere, but it's particularly important in our smaller communities, in our rural jurisdictions. And this One Stop for Growth program was really designed to think about how do you turn ideas and dreams into projects and action items. And that's why it's got such a wide berth to it. From an elementary school that can be a new community hub. We've got other programs that are being approved today for senior center investments. We've got things like culverts and infrastructure upgrades and planning that can help get those ideas into an actionable stage and make it very real. The other thing I'd say we found about our rural partners is the ability to really work together and leverage all the assets, right? It's no one person's project or idea. It becomes you working with the CDC, working with the local farm, trying to put all the resources together to create that healthy ecosystem. And that's why we want to be a partner to it and make sure as we're thinking about these rural development fund dollars. And today we've got 49 grant awards totaling $10 million to support projects that will impact 51 of the Commonwealth's rural communities. It has the concentric circle to help in so many other ways, whether it's a quality of life issue or an economic driver or fixing a problem that exists. These dollars are stretched and going a really long way. We think it can be transformational in terms of impacting what's happening in your community, and it can leverage others to do more. I think we're really at the point in this midterm of our first what we hope will be a two-term administration, but in the middle of this 4-year term, of understanding the power of those partnerships. Even more so now. There's a lot of uncertainty happening at the national level. We feel it too. That's why we've got to be that steady partner. We're staying disciplined, the things we can control, working hard to sort of call out the areas where we think make impacts that are negative in the Commonwealth, but most assuredly wanting to be that strong state partner, even more so during times when there's uncertainty. Roads, bridges, transportation, connecting downtowns, investing in them, ensuring that we have the type of housing that we need and we can make those investments. Those are all areas that impact the quality of life, allow generations to continue to stay here and live in this Commonwealth. And I feel really fortunate. I didn't have the good fortune to be born in Massachusetts. I'm a Navy brat. I was born in Hawaii, moved all over. I came to Massachusetts to go to college, and like a lot of people, I never left. I found a place that's welcoming, that's inclusive, that is designed to solve hard problems. Like, that's what we do here. So we view the work ahead as being both the backstop and the beacon, continuing to support, uplift, and empower what's happening locally, and really want to be a strong partner. So I want you to know, please think of us as an ally in the work that you're doing. Please reach out to us. Share with us what your biggest challenges are. That's how we really are able to spark initiatives like this Rural Development Fund, changing formulas, understanding how we can be more helpful. We can't do everything, but we can do a lot when we work together. So I just want to thank you all for being here, for the very warm welcome, for the work you do every single day to make your communities better. By doing so, you're making our Commonwealth better. And with that, I want to invite up Secretary Howe, whose department is responsible for managing all of the grants. And in some ways, you're doing too good of a job because we have more applications than we have funding. But keep them coming, because we think that's a good problem to have. And thanks so much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. She said it all. So, but folks know that I talk a lot about Team Massachusetts because we have the best team. And actually, people who know me know I love Team Western Massachusetts. So, like the Lieutenant Governor, I came to the state for the first time to come out for college in Western Massachusetts and fell in love with the state and the mountains and the air and the people and all the small towns. And then we got a place out here, and my kids have grown up coming out here, their whole lives. And so we're so grateful to have all of you here and to look at this awesome Team Western Massachusetts with our incredible legislators, Senator Mark and Representative Sabadosa, and all of our incredible towns and our select boards. And so thank you, Team Cummington, especially. I think you all represent what really is the best about our state, just hearing the story. And I was thinking about it. One of my many bracelets I wear, in addition to my Team Massachusetts bracelet, which if anyone wants one, you can get a Team Massachusetts. We have some in the back. But one of the other bracelets I wear is I wear my JFK bracelet. And I was with Joe Kennedy this week, and we were talking about his grand uncle, right? And I think John F. Kennedy, when he was president, he said it the best. You know, we in Massachusetts, we don't do things because they're easy. We choose to go to the moon because it's hard. And these projects, it might seem like it's easy to turn a school into a multi-use, like, economic development engine. It's really hard. And we choose to do it not because it's easy, but because it's hard, and because we know it's going to have a big impact on making people's lives better here. And so how many years did you work on this? You were telling the story. Sixth year of working on this, all the different steps along the way. And this is why being a team matters so much, because when we partner together with our incredible legislature and our incredible team and our towns, these things can come to life. And so congratulations on your $400,000 award. That's a big deal. And I will say, just so you know, I want to call out Undersecretary Ashley Stolba and her team. John Way is here, and then Ann Goby's here. And we also have our incredible Western Mass, Kristen Lecco here as well. But I want you to know it's a very competitive process, as the Lieutenant Governor said. And John Way and Ashley and the whole team, Ann Goby, they take this very seriously. There's a scorecard. They review every application. Multiple people review it. They look at the criteria, and it is a very high bar to get an award. So huge congrats to you to getting this award, and to all of the other 48 recipients this year. I will just end by saying that you know, we are living in interesting times. I was talking to someone about this when I came in, and I think it's very easy to read the news or to watch TV and just feel depressed or angry or sad or resigned. What gives me great hope and great optimism is coming to events like this and seeing all of you. The work that you do every day that is really hard and really difficult and takes tenacity and patience and involves working together, this is what makes our state so great. And so there are many things, as the Lieutenant Governor said, that we cannot control in D.C. or in the world, but what we can control is how we work together. And we really believe in all of our state, all 351 towns and cities, but especially our 181 rural towns and cities, or towns, I guess. But Ann has visited 141 of the 181. She just told me that by June she'll have visited all 181. We're going to hold her to that. But we believe in this state, and we believe in work together. This is the first administration that has a full-time dedicated person to rural towns, Ann Goby. This is the most we've ever funded rural towns and communities, $10 million. We passed the Mass Leads Act, which is our economic development bill last year. It's a $4 billion bill, thank you to our legislators, of which there's $100 million for rural towns. And so, again, there's many things we can't control, but let's focus on what we can control and all the great things we can do together. So let's go Team Massachusetts, let's go Team Western Massachusetts, let's go Team Cummington. Congratulations.
I definitely want to bring up Senator Mark and Representative Sabadosa because they've been such terrific partners. Senator Mark was chairing the Tourism Committee, so another opportunity for us to really showcase the amazing geography here and opportunities to grow art and culture. And we have a lot of New York Yankees caps in Western Mass. Yeah, there are a lot. Yeah, I know. So we need more Red Sox caps out here. Okay. Anyway, Senator Mark, please, and then Rep. Sabadosa.
Thank you. Thank you to the Lieutenant Governor and to the Secretary for being here. I'm going to say Paul Mark, State Senator for Cummington and 56 other communities in Berkshire, Hampshire, Franklin, and Hampden counties. And I looked at this map that the Lieutenant Governor is standing next to, and I've got good news for all of us. 15 of my towns won. I got bad news for them. There's 42 to go. So thank you for being here and highlighting the Western Mass recipients, especially here in Cummington. And so this is not a political statement, what I'm about to say. This is what government is supposed to do. And this is how government is supposed to work. And that's not a partisan issue, because in Massachusetts, with Republican Governor Charlie Baker, and before him, Democratic Governor Deval Patrick, all of whom I served alongside, there was a partnership. There was an idea that Commonwealth means we work together, we help each other, we're there for each other, we care about the future of our region and of our state. And now I've never seen the partnership work better than with the Lieutenant Governor, the Governor, and their team, the Secretary included. Yesterday we were at the Ways and Means hearing, and Rep. Sabadosa was there as well, and Governor Healey said, I know that the legislature votes for these items, the legislature votes for our budgets. And I am here as the governor asking you to give me the resources and the tools in order to do amazing projects like this. So having that partnership, having that intersection of the division of power, but having us collaborate town level, legislative level, and administration, executive branch level is important. Massachusetts has always been a leader of this country. The 250th anniversary of the revolution is in about a month. Hopefully the only revolution we're going to need. And we took that upon ourselves here to lead and to create this country to exist for this very purpose, that we care about each other, we're a democracy, and we're going to partner and work together. And then as the last thing I'll say, as the most rural of all senators and representatives, legislators in the state, seeing the commitment from this team to Western Massachusetts, to our small towns, is incredibly gratifying and incredibly hopeful. So I really appreciate the work that has been going on, partnering with our small towns, partnering with the legislature, but never forgetting that these rural towns matter, that Western Massachusetts matter. I was here in 2012 at a pancake breakfast trying to save the school before it closed when I was a first-term rep for Cummington. And so to see how things have changed, but that the mission of the town has never ended, and that we're all working together to try to make this a successful place and a beautiful, vibrant town is so important. So thank you for this. Thank you for listening to me. And do I introduce the representative? It is my honor to represent my partner in the legislature. We share 7 communities in Hampshire County. The representative for the 1st Hampshire District, Lindsay Sebados.
I am so happy to be here today. I just have to start with that. I have been so honored to work with the Select Board on this project and to hear their passion and their focus on making this happen, and to see steps of this coming together is just, it makes the work so worthwhile. I hope you all feel that way too. All right, Lieutenant Governor. So I grew up in Westfield, but in Wyben, all right? So that little tiny corner, you know the one where it says population 160 as you drive through? Seriously, 160. And you might tell from my last name, I'm Italian. So the reason you see those Yankee caps is because of families like mine, right? The families that came to Massachusetts via Pennsylvania or New York when they came through, and there was Joe DiMaggio, so you know. But also, we didn't feel like we were part of Massachusetts. Like, we looked towards New York. It's easier to get to New York than it is to get to Boston. And we get New York news. I listen to that out of Albany as I drive to the State House. And people at the State House like to joke that we live in New York a lot. And that's changing.
Not this team.
That's changing. Because with this team, all of a sudden, I'm seeing the governor and the lieutenant governor and the secretary coming to Western Massachusetts in ways that they have not done before. Great, that's worth applause. You are never going to convince my dad to wear a Red Sox hat. It's not going to happen. But it does mean that it starts to make Massachusetts feel like a cohesive unit where it's often been separated into East and West. And it's so important that that happened because Western Mass has some of the coolest places in this state. Now, you are sitting in the town of Cummington with 800 people. Do you know that that William Cullen Bryant Homestead is just up the road? You've had 2 poet laureates from this community. You are halfway between Northampton and Pittsfield. The first therapeutic LGBTQ private school in the country is opening here in the fall. You have the smallest and most rural cultural council in all of Massachusetts. The list just keeps going on and on and on. Julia from my staff is there nodding because we put information about each town, and we're like, we can't put that much about one community. But the people who live here are fabulous, interesting people who work so hard to make this a special place. And that's why these awards mean so much, because they're going to give you the funds to just keep doing that work and continue to pull Massachusetts together as a cohesive unit, as one Commonwealth as we should be. And I can't wait to come back and celebrate more awards and finally see this school open again. Thank you.
So we are going to invite all of our awardees to come up so we can do a group photo. Again, we're really excited to be here to continue to work with you. We're trying to make the process easier. We're trying to make sure we're getting money out the door. And thank you so much for making us feel so welcome here. Really appreciate it. So let's get our awardees up.
I mean, cultural
Buried the
council
lead.
was